methodology there was to go door to door or what have you. He explained it was a window washing business.
Yeah.
But for the first person that you go to, offer the service with no strings attached. No, I don't want to tip. I don't want to come in for coffee. We just want to show you the type of work that we do. We're new here in the neighborhood.
Right.
And then go to the second person's house and say, well, hey, I just did your neighbors. They loved it. We'd like to do it for you as well. No, I don't want to come in for tea or coffee. We just want to show you the type of work that we do here in the neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's exactly how we've started. I mean, and that's the right way. What you're talking about is people. You just have to get started. You have to.
Yeah.
And you can't say, I've got this coming up, and I can't, and it's this problem and this challenge and this obstacle, and I'm too busy, and I've got this. Look, nobody's going to do it for you. We are all busy doing our own thing anyway. If you want it, go get it, go do it, and do it responsibly, do it authentically, do it in integrity, and just like you said, and you're going to have to hustle. It's not going to be handed to you, but that's the beauty of it. I don't want it handed. You want to feel like you want to feel a nobility, an admiration. There's a nobility in work. And that's what we want for people. I've got to take a break here real quick, John, but thank you so much for being on and sharing your story and how your business got started and kind of the transformation that your life has taken. And thank you for what you do for entrepreneurs all the way in Oregon as well, especially for being a Kingdompreneur and Matthew 6:33, seeking first the kingdom of God and His right, and all these things shall be added unto you. He's more important, dealing more business more important than anything else going on. He's first. Thanks so much. All right. When I get back, we'll be taking more of your calls after this message.
Entrepreneurs, business people, and Christian leaders, mark your calendars now for the 3-day, 2-night, all-inclusive, faith-based Bahamas CEO cruise, departing West Palm Beach October 7th through the 9th for only $49 per person plus port taxes and fees. For $49, you can join former Hoverboard CEO and Kingdompreneur radio host Dr. Roland Roberts on this incredible experience, providing access to world-renowned business titans. It's access, relationships, business, worship, and breakthroughs in your swimsuit. Reserve your cabin now at www.ceocruise.com.
Christine Neal from TransLife Organ and Tissue Donation Services in studio with us. And Christine, I understand there's a new program out there that everyone's going to be carrying their heart in their pocket.
If you've been into the driver's license office, you may have noticed that they have a new design. And as part of that updated license, Floridians now have the opportunity to put a heart on their license instead of just the word organ donor. So we're excited, and we think that this can be used as a badge of honor to share your decision to help save lives through donation. This is a new mission.
This will be done in 30 seconds. Then I'm going to do the Cardiff billboard again for you, and then right back in.
Last year, more than 88% of Floridians said yes through the driver's license offices. So we think that this is a fantastic opportunity for us to show our support in the community. If you don't have to get your license anytime soon, you can always visit the website, donatelifeflorida.org or translife.org.
And you can also call 407-543-4100. Christine, thank you.
Thank you.
Kingdompreneur Radio is brought to you by Cardiff Lexington Corporation, a publicly traded company under symbol CDIX. If you're a business owner interested in selling to pull equity out of your business and would like to stay on board or looking for growth capital, visit www.cardifflexington.com.
Back to Kingdompreneur Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Roland Roberts, and I'm taking your calls to solve the most pressing business and life struggles. Call 407-682-9595 now to get in the queue. We've got Christy waiting. Christy, welcome to Kingdompreneur Radio.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. Thanks for calling. What's the question?
I have a small business, and I work on my own, but I want to hire somebody, and I've never done that before, so I was just wondering, what kind of steps need to be taken.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about the business.
Well, it's a cleaning company.
Okay. We just had one. Is yours residential, commercial, or both?
I do house cleaning.
House. Okay, so residential. All right, great. And so why the need to hire someone? Are you getting too busy? Are you have too many houses to clean and can't service them properly? What's the thought behind this particular strategy of growth?
I just need the support. It's strenuous work.
Yes.
So hiring somebody would be optimum for my business, for me.
Okay. So do you plan to have you want someone to do the cleaning on your behalf? So you're going to pay them, if you get paid, let's say $50 to clean a house, and you're going to pay them, $25 to clean a house, and your company, you're taking $25, for marketing and promoting and servicing. Is that what you have in mind?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind doing that.
Okay. So make sure you think through what you're paying them, what you're getting paid, what your other expenses are, liability insurance, and any bond being covered, bonded and insured, anything that you need like that. Make sure that you account for that. Make sure that what you can't do, and one of the mistakes that most people make when they hire their first employee is they don't understand their margin. They don't understand. If you've got to build in all of those other factors and then still make a profit for yourself. And you have to decide what that is, and it depends on what market you're in, what that can support, and also what your, what your personal goals are and how much you're looking to earn and gain. But when it comes to hiring the first employee, most people hire friends and family, right? That's usually the first group that they hire. And at some point,
well, that wouldn't be in my case.
Oh, okay, good. Tell me, do you already have somebody in mind?
No, that's another reason I'm calling is what's a good way of finding someone? Okay,
yeah. Well, the first thing, especially whenever it's your first hire, you really want to make sure you hire smart. And just like you heard Tom, the inventor of the McDonald's Happy Meal sharing earlier, recruiting, you're going to win or lose based on hiring the right person or hurting yourself if you hire the wrong person because it hurts your brand. People won't. Word of mouth will spread that your company doesn't do a great job. So you got to be very careful, and so you got to be able to trust the person. So you can't do some of the normal recruiting methods of placing an ad, putting it out on Facebook Marketplace or the job sites, Craigslist. All of the traditional hiring and recruiting platforms I would not go to for your situation and your first employee. What I would do is when you are going into out to eat, when you are going to Starbucks, when you go to the store, a retail store, you walk into Target, when you go places, look for that person that goes above and beyond to give you great service. Not doing their job, but it was beyond what their job would have required because it's who they are. And start looking for those people with that kind of a work ethic because, like you said, cleaning is a strenuous business. It's a tough business. So you can't have people who do the bare minimum. You've got to have people who give it all that they have because that's who they are. And here's the deal. When you hire the right person, they will work harder than you will ever legally be able to make them. See, no employer can make me work harder than I work because it's just you're not allowed to force somebody to work 100 hours. You can't force them to put their heart into it. You can force them to follow the mechanics of the job. You can't force them to do it with heart. And that's the quality you are looking for in your first employee. And here's the other thing I want to tell you. Find somebody who believes in what you're doing. Find somebody who says, I like you. I believe you're making a difference. I believe that I want to partner with you because I understand the vision, not just the job. I need to be able to put food on the table. But I'm partnering with you because I like what you stand for. I like that you are a kingdom entrepreneur. I like that you put God first, or I like that you put people, serve people, and you have a servant's heart, and that you love people. I think it's beautiful, and that's what I love about you. That's what you want that employee to feel about you. All right, so those are some of the recommendations that I would have in terms of hiring your first employee. Do not post for it. I want you to go on the hunt for it. Go on the offensive and find the person that you want to work with, that you want to have phone calls with, that you want to text and communicate with, and that you can work really easily, bouncing ideas. Hey, can you go over to such and such's house? They're needing it cleaned at 2:30 today. They've got a big event tonight, and they told us last minute. Is there any way you can do that? Find somebody who it fits their life, but more importantly, they are completely aligned with your vision and your culture and your core values. Does that help?
Yeah, I think that's what I needed.
Awesome.
Really looking for somebody, and just somebody else telling me that, so that helped a lot. And
Fantastic.
I'll probably think about it and take more in as time goes. So thank you.
Make it my pleasure, and make it a game. Go out this afternoon, go to different places, and just observe. Just that, literally, that's what I used to do all the time. Go and observe at different places who is the best employee at that restaurant, at that retail establishment, at the movie theater, wherever you go and one employee usually always stands out head and shoulders. Now, in this case, I usually end up finding out it's the business owner because it's the person that's playing out all out and with the most heart. But you will find and meet the right people. Just go out and observe. Make it a game. It's a lot of fun, and we're rooting for you. Thank you so much for calling Kingdompreneur Radio.
Okay.
You have a great afternoon. All right, very good. And the number again to call, 407-682-9595. I am taking your calls for about 15 more minutes. Get in the queue. But first, I have an in-studio guest, and this is a Kingdom entrepreneur. It's really awesome because, we host CEO huddles around the country. We have nearly 9,000 entrepreneurs that meet either weekly, biweekly, or once a month. And I met Brad through a CEO huddle, and I'm telling you instantly some of the things he said. I thought there's very few people who use the kind of rhetoric that Brad is using right now, and I barely started going down that rabbit trail, and sure enough, he was the real deal. So I've got Brad Klein in the studio today. Brad, welcome.
Hey, Rollins, fantastic to be here. It's when I kind of invited myself into the studio just to be an audience. I didn't know you'd put me on microphone, but I feel great. Thanks for that.
Yeah, well, you've got a lot to contribute, that's for sure. We do a lot with public companies. And tell everybody real quick just what you do, especially as it pertains to that.
Well, my public-facing kind of gig is I help host events for publicly traded companies, for CEOs that want to get out on the road, get face-to-face with investors or potential investors. I help fill the room and host the CEOs into these events. It's part of an organization we call the Stock and Bond Club. In fact, that's the website, stockandbond.club.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, very good. Well, you've heard a lot today. Is your head spinning?
Yeah, a lot going on here. No
What
question.
What are your thoughts? I mean, what's been the most pressing thing that you're like chomping at the bits to just say, oh, no, you got to do this?
Well, a couple things jump off the page to me. I like what you said earlier about your experience in college. You worked a full-time job and you took 18 or 21 hours as well. And I found the same thing when I was in college. I found that my grades were better when I had more classes and I worked more, because I worked 3 jobs at one time in school, because you're forced to discipline your time better, and you don't squander that time. It's easy to go home and just flip channels, but when you have to discipline your time, you find that your results really stack up. It's a much better approach.
They say if you want to get something done, give it to someone who doesn't have time to do it.
Right.
Because they'll do it,
if you want
and
something
they'll do
done,
it
give it to a busy person. Right.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
No
Right.
doubt about it. So here's the thing. There's some things on my heart here, and of course you can still call in 407-682-9595. Interrupt me, that's fine. We'll chat and visit about what's on your heart. But there's a couple of things that I think are critical. First of all, I've thought a lot about alcohol and how it relates to business. Alcohol in business. So you have Mothers Against Drunk Driving. You've got all of the things around alcohol. Or secular opinions, and then you have all of the spiritual side and 1,000 different viewpoints, on this. But as it relates to business, pros, cons, business setting, social drinking, there's several thoughts, and I'm going to kick it off. And if you've got questions, feel free to call or comments. But here's the thing: it kills more people than most any other drug. Number one, it's so addicting that people really, 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 really struggle with it. It tears up homes. I was at dinner with someone on Thursday evening, and they were telling me about their upbringing and their childhood, and the number of divorces that the mom had, and 5, and every single time it was alcohol related. Alcohol was the common thread, mental illness in 2 of them. But alcohol is so destructive. It has ruined so many families. It's ruined so many homes. It's ruined businesses. And it causes people to do things they otherwise would never do. So I go back to the scripture and say, okay, so what should the philosophy, what's the best practice? Now, in most every aspect of business, we try to have the highest standard possible. So if I'm trying to find what's the bare minimum, that's a different conversation than what I'm trying to have here. I'm trying to say what's the higher standard. And, you hear all of the verses. You hear, it's okay to drink. It's not okay to get drunk. Be not drunk with wine, wherein is excess. Or, things of that nature. But really, there's also issues where it talks about that leaders don't drink. They said in Proverbs, it's unwise for kings to drink wine because it compromises you. It causes your pictures, a compromising picture with you and someone else, to pop up on Instagram or on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. So there's for leaders, there is a different standard. The Bible does make it clear there's a different standard for leaders than there is for everyone else. So, and we're talking to entrepreneurs, we're talking to kingdompreneurs. So I'm talking about in business. Where's that line? And but one of the principles that I have really come down on with this is that the times where it was said to partake was when there was physical pain, not when there was emotional pain. And but most people today do not drink like John Wayne or Roy Rogers or whenever they got shot with a bullet wound in the Wild West Westerns, and they pour it in because they're getting ready to do a surgery without any anesthesia. They don't do it for physical pain. They do it for emotional pain. They do it to drown the sorrows. They do it to numb their senses or to enhance. It just shows, A, either what a boring person you are, or B, that you really don't need to sedate yourself and make your life better so that you don't need. It's not a crutch. It's never been a crutch. And so I think that, and of course it says strong drink is raging, wine is a mocker, be not drunk with wine, and it is not smart for kings to partake. So anyway, those are some thoughts on how alcohol relates to business. I'm not saying do or don't. I'm saying if you want to be wise like Solomon, and if you want to have a very large business, or you want to be a world leader and other things, think through what your personal life philosophy is when it comes to alcohol. Because there will be choices, there will be consequences, and it may depend on the business you're in, it may depend on the clients you serve, it can depend upon a lot of things. But I can tell you this, when I was senior executive of a Fortune 500 company, there was happy hours every single day. They were always going out, and we were always entertaining clients. I mean, at dinners, 3 or 4 nights a week, all over the country. But I made personal choices along that journey, and it doesn't compromise my business or my ability to do business. There was only one time where I was told that if I did not engage, that the deal was off. And this was one of the largest financial firms in the country. And the CEO, they would only meet with me, not even our CEO. And so it was a really highly visible trip. And we got done with dinner, and the man told me, he said, "Now take me to the strip club." And I said, no, well, I don't do that, and he said, no, take me. And he had a few, and I said, no, you don't understand. I can't even take you. And actually, he wanted everything paid for, obviously.
Right.
And he said, and then he said, well, just give me $1,000, and I'll go by myself. And I said, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And then he said the words I thought I'd never hear in business, and I haven't heard it since, and I didn't hear it before. He said, if you don't give me that money, we will not do business from here on out. Now, if I went back to the Fortune 500 company and said, hey, this highly visible trip that he wouldn't even meet with you, not only do we not get more business, they just yanked the millions of dollars that they're doing out from under us. I would not have had a job, I assure you.
Right.
And I had to tell him, I said, man, I hope you understand, but I just can't do it. And he was so mad. We were almost to the hotel, and I don't know what he did that night. We didn't talk for about a week or so, which, of course, I get back to the office. Everybody's like, well, hey, have you talked to him? Have you heard from him? And I'm like, no. No. And I didn't know which direction that was going to go. But you want to know something? That man, he got his heart right with the Lord. He's one of the 5,000 friends that I have on Facebook. He got married a few years ago. He's got a little boy.
Beautiful.
And he's trying to live for the Lord. Now, what if I'd compromised?
That's right.
15, 20 years ago.
That's right.
I am so sick and tired of people who operate in the moment, who don't have the discipline, who don't follow Him, who make decisions based on the immediate and the circumstance and the deal and saving their job and saving their hide and saving whatever because they're selfish. They are focused. They are in it for them. They are not serving Him. And the Bible's clear. You either serve God or man. I mean, you can't serve both. And you don't serve a little bit over here and a little bit over there. You know, if you're over there, you are my enemy. You're actually full on against me. And that's how most people live their lives, practically speaking. Now they say the right words.
That's right. That's right. Now, finish the story for us, Roland. So, you held firm. You held firm. You put up a good testimony. It ministered to this guy. He's living for the Lord now. What happened in the moment? Did that business come back to you? What happened?
It did. The business never went away.
Mm-hmm.
And, in fact, it did grow. And then about probably 8 months later is when 2007 hit. And I'm telling you, that brand does not even exist today. They were doing billions of dollars in sales. His marketing budget was billions. It was more than we were grossing as a company. And they had multiple blimps. They had 2 cars that NASCAR would go to. They had 10 Super Bowl commercials he was shooting after our meeting, and chose 2 to go in. I mean, just so much money that they were throwing around. But no, they're not even in existence anymore. I'm telling you, sin is only it only lives for a season.
Right.
You have to, and there is pleasure in sin for a season.
For a season.
But
right.
You know what? The moment you wake up from that drunken stupor, the moment you wake up and realize what you've done and who you've done it with, when you wake up and realize that you have hurt the God of heaven, the Holy Spirit of God that lives inside you and dwells in you, and what He just had to witness and put up with and see, and how it grieves Him.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness, come on, you know? It's not worth it. It never has been. And hell is separation from God, and sin is what separates us from God. So welcome to hell on earth, because that's what it is when you don't walk with Him.
That's right. That's right. I too have been in hundreds, maybe thousands of business situations. I've interviewed hundreds of CEOs as well. I can't think of really one time, getting back to your original point about the alcohol, I can't think of one point where declining the alcohol accepting the alcohol would have gained me more business. It was neutral at best, and only stood to harm me. So don't even go there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Next week we are running out of time. So next week I'm going to talk about forgiveness, and we're going to get to that because I'm telling you it's one of the biggest things. I started working with a man this past week who was Ron Hubbard's of Scientology, the founder of Scientology, his right-hand man for 20 years. And he's been out of that for a couple of decades, but it haunts him to this day. He's become a client last week, and we are working together. He has built an entire practice on forgiveness. And you can't even imagine, after you go through decades of that and traveling the world and being in hiding for years with that man, and what it takes to forgive people who have been deep in cults and those kind of things.
Right.
People who have done you wrong. Genesis 50:20. You meant evil unto me, but God meant it for good. Like Joseph, you can throw me in the pit. You can sell me into slavery. You can do wrong against me. You can cheat me. You can lie on me. You can walk out on me. You can do all manner of harm and speak ill against me. But I'm telling you, you can't touch me in the name of Jesus. You meant evil unto me, but God meant it for good. Here's what I want to leave you with this week, Kingdompreneurs. I cannot take away your pain, and I can't take away your hurt, your frustration, or your anger. But Psalm 30, verse 5 says, "For his anger endureth but a moment. In his favor is life." And then this is my favorite part. "Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning." I needed that verse this week like you wouldn't believe. I mean, I've read so much, and once I found that one, I just kept saying it and repeating it, because of the amount of pain that I felt. And I just kept praying and speaking, "Weeping may endure for a night." And it does. It does. But joy cometh in the morning. There's always a morning. And James 1:2 says, "Brethren, count it all joy when you fall into trials, with various trials." Have you thanked God for the pain that you feel today? All I can tell you is that it won't last forever. You will come out the other side, and you'll come out stronger and more joyful than ever before in your life, only if you seek him during it. The people who go the other direction when they are in pain and feeling the suffering, they actually end up coming out with nothing but regret. And I'm telling you, every single one of us will say one of these days, I'm glad I did, or I wish I had. My mom told me, if you get battered and not get bitter, you'll get better. And I've always, she was right. If you don't draw close to him and be extra careful with your thoughts and actions, you will pay a steep price that you may never recover from. You may never recover from it. I see casualties of the past every single day. There is hope, but it requires a price that most aren't willing to pay. You're going to have to walk away from friends. You're going to have to cut off the wrong influences. You're going to have to change the way you think about certain things that put you in the exact horrible place you're in. And Neil Postman said, people in distress will sometimes prefer a problem that is familiar to a solution that is not. A lot of people get used to living with the pain, and I hope that does not become you. That is not for the Kingdompreneur that wants to have a successful, God-honoring life and business. I hope that you'll join me on my next CEO cruise. It's a 3-day, 2-night faith-based cruise out of West Palm Beach for only $49 for listeners of Kingdompreneur Radio. Using the code Kingdompreneur, go to ceocruise.com. Tom Feltenstein, if you want to picture with the inventor of the McDonald's Happy Meal, you're definitely going to want to be on that, ceocruise.com. I'll be taking your calls and addressing your struggles on Kingdompreneur Radio again next Saturday from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss the show right after mine, Authentic Living with Courtney Shaw. She's an amazing powerhouse for God. I'm Dr. Roland Roberts, encouraging you to live your faith in business.
Listening to Kingdompreneur Radio with Dr. Roland Roberts. We pour God's Word and business principles into hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs every week, and we couldn't do that without your sacrificial giving. If you're interested in supporting revival through the marketplace and mobilizing Kingdompreneurs and God-based businesses around the world, please invest sacrificially in our ministry at www.kingdompreneurradio.com. All gifts of $1,999 or more come with unlimited free access to Dr. Roland Roberts for counsel, coaching, and consulting for 3 months. The mission is critical. Our time is short, and only what's done for Christ will last. Join Dr. Roland Roberts again next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern as he shapes the lives and businesses of Kingdompreneurs the world over. 94.9 FM and AM 950.
Central Florida's WTLN